Hi guys, I'm Tony Williams and you're once again welcome to Knowing What I Now Know. As always, I like to start the post by first of all thanking every single person who takes it upon themselves in one way or another to reach out, comment, post, repost any of my previous materials that I put out. I want to say a big heartfelt thank you to you guys for engaging in the way you do. I always say, whether your comments are good, bad, encouraging, whatever they are, on whatever platform you do issue them, they're fuel to my tank and it keeps me doing what I'm doing. So I really appreciate your feedback, your comments, your likes, your shares, your subscriptions, however little it may be. I always appreciate it, and thanks once again for all those efforts in those ways. So it's also a good place, as I always like to say, that if you have not yet subscribed to any of my social media platforms, or you have not yet signed up for my newsletter, or you're yet to follow me on Facebook or Instagram, now's a good time, because basically what it does is it gives you the opportunity to not miss any of the materials, most importantly, that I put out there. So needless to say, if anything I share, not even the whole sum and substance of the post, but if it's just any part of it, if it challenges you, if it encourages you, and it's something where you like to hear more of, or see more of, or read more of, then best thing to do is just follow me, any of my platforms. Facebook, you could like and follow my page, Twitter, my website, you can sign up for newsletters, YouTube, you could subscribe and get prompted and notified when any of the videos like this come out, or you could also get a backlog of all the previous videos that I've put out in the past, and just listen to them at your leisure. Hopefully it's out there and it would bless someone, it would challenge someone, change your way of thinking, or sort of just switch the way you perceive things or look at things from, give us the ability to look at things from a different perspective. Yeah, so that's that. Yeah, it's Friday, trying to get this post out. It's a bank holiday Friday. Officially, this is the bank holiday that says we're at the end of the summer. So technically, we're entering the last quarter of the year. Wow, hasn't 2017 just flown by? It was only like yesterday, when you think of it, that we were shaking hands and wishing everyone a happy new year, and then the first quarter went, the second quarter went, the third quarter went, which is mostly our summer, which was neither here nor there. And in a few days from now, we're in the final quarter, final chapter of 2017. So it's never too late. This quarter is the quarter that's best for us to stock take, and look at what we've done in the past 3 quarters, and if we feel by any chance that there's certain things that we've left out or left undone, or we've procrastinated, or we've not lived up to par, we could still make an impact for 2017. We could still, better late than never, they say. We could still set the ball rolling and hopefully gain that momentum that would lead us to hit the ground running in 2018. So it's never too late to start, but it's important that we self-check ourselves. What have we done over the last sort of 9 months, because August is going to an end now, so we are entering the 9th month. So what have we done in the past 8 months from the beginning of the year? Have we kept those resolutions that we said? Have we been true to ourselves? Have we procrastinated? Have we just partied the whole year away? Have we given ourselves value? Have sort of increased our value did we read a book? Did we read 2 books? You know, did we gain any knowledge? You know, have we made constructive relationships? You know, have we sort of changed our circle of friends? Have we improved our circle of friends? You know, there's so many things that are out there that in the past 9 months, when we look back on, we could, you know, check and, you know, pick out the good and pick out the bad, and decide that for the final quarter of the year, if there's so many bad things, we could challenge ourselves to improve on this thing. You know, and it leads me into what I want to sort of talk about today, which is more like self-discipline. Because a lot of the things that we set for ourselves at the beginning of the year, if we find ourselves not doing it now, it's down to a few things, but most importantly, it's self-discipline. Because remember, one of the posts that was dominant that I put out this year was, as a man think in his heart, so is he. Or as a man continues to think, so he would remain. You know, so we have the capacity as individuals to possibly achieve anything that we could think of and believe in. You know, if we ask most of the most successful people in the world today how they came about their success, you know, most of them will just tell you it started with an idea, you know, away from a few that, you know, had that, you know, silver spoon that landed them into wealth as soon as they were born. A lot of us, because I'm part of that now, a lot of us started off of really nothing, you know, more than an idea, more than you know, a passion, more than a desire, and stayed true to that desire. And even when, you know, they fell short, or when we fell short, you know, because we locked our thoughts and locked that desire, we had a burning desire that we locked onto a specific goal or purpose, it's enough to, you know, keep you going when you fall. So that's where, you know, my topic for today kicks in, self-discipline. And the only reason why you could attain that goal is because you're disciplined, because along the tracks, you know, that lead you to that final point of your goal or your purpose, or achieving that purpose, or, you know, fulfilling that desire, there's so many distractions. You know, if you set a goal for yourself to stop smoking, for instance, that's the time, you know, even though you set that goal for yourself, you know, you thought that goal, you've desired it, but so much things in way of distractions will come. That's the time when you would have so many friends that come around you that would offer you a cigarette, and then that's where your self-discipline kicks in and says, you know what, for this thing I said to myself, I'm not going to do no more. And so you should be able to say no to it, you know, and that's a lot, but that is the kind of discipline that you need to be able to get to the next level. That's the kind of discipline that you need to be able to get to your goal, because unless you're having inside of you, or coming from inside of you, that discipline to resist every temptation, like to cast it down, to totally annihilate every thought that tempts you to go beyond or way and above what you've decided that you want to do for yourself. So a thought that makes you want to go against what you've decided that you want to do for yourself, then we're always going to fall short. Because, you know, for instance, okay, so I give you a prime example. I'm talking about these from experience. When I decided to stop smoking, and I never used to smoke cigarette, I smoke trees, put it that way. When I decided to stop smoking, and I've probably stopped smoking now close to about 20 years. Yeah, so you could do the maths. So when I started smoking, but when I decided to stop smoking, it was when I had my son, and I figured to myself, you know, I can't stop smoking. I can't continue smoking trees with my son in the house. So I said to myself, I'm gonna stop smoking, and I made that decision that I'm gonna stop smoking. It was hard, but I made that decision that I'm gonna stop smoking. Having said that, I would still go out and go to my tree seller and buy, you know, by the the substance that we smoked. The funniest thing is that we bought so much substance from the tree seller. He used to think we were going to resell it, but no, these were just what we bought for personal consumption. So you can imagine, if I've been doing that for years and years and buying so much that one could personally even look at you and think this guy is an addict, but you made a decision off nothing else but a decision because you had a bigger goal to attain or achieve. And I said to myself, I'm going to stop smoking. It was a goal I locked onto. So I would still go to my tree seller and I would buy perhaps maybe about 20, 30, 40 pounds worth of the substance, and I would sort of roll one up as I'm leaving, and just one for the road, as they say, and decide to smoke. But then I'll say to myself, oh, but I did say to myself, I'm not smoking no more, so why have I rolled this off? So I'll take the whole rest of the bag of trees and I would throw it away. Like I throw it out of the window as I drive on, and then I'll drive halfway up the road and think, wow, it's just like I'm throwing away 30 pounds. And I'll reverse back and start looking, I start looking for it again, then I'll pick it up. And I did that for a period of time. And then I thought to myself, you know what, I'm gonna just start emptying these trees away, because I can't continue going back every week to start looking for a bag that I've thrown, on the roadside. So I'm gonna take this thing and I'm gonna empty it out, like sprinkle it really on the road. And I sprinkled it maybe 3 or 4 times, and then I thought to myself, I'm basically just going to stop. So what I'm saying is, even though you give yourself self-discipline and you give yourself a goal that you're targeting, you have to still put a plan in place that would sort of knock on the door of your brain, and when that temptation is there. So when I started sprinkling it away, maybe 3 or 4 times, I thought to myself, no, that's like a lot of money I'm just throwing away. Then why don't I just stop? And after a while, once I stopped it, going to him, maybe a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, about the 4th week or so, I got other things that occupied me, and I never even thought of it no more. I went 3-4 weeks without thinking, having a smoke. And then I would go out, at that time I would now go out to friends, because at that time I'm capable of saying to myself 3-4 weeks down the line. So that's why it's also important. You can't, at that point where you're trying to give up, just surround yourself by, because you're trying to discipline yourself, you can't surround yourself with people who are going to make you break, your plan or your vow or the discipline that you're trying to build over a certain situation. So I had to sort of not go to the tree seller, not hang around the friends that used to, we used to, have the substance together for a period of time. And after about 3-4 weeks, I found other things to keep me company, and before I knew it, I didn't even remember. I probably just so by this time, people are calling you and say, T, are you coming out? I'm like, bro, I've stopped smoking, or I've stopped doing this. So again, accountability. I've told this guy, I've told this guy, I've told that guy, I've told this girl that I've stopped smoking. They're waiting to see you fail. You're waiting to prove them wrong. So you've got to be accountable to them. When you tell them that you've stopped doing this thing, they're waiting for you to go to a party or go to a club and they hand you the thing and you say, yeah. And they'll just be laughing at you. But because you've got to prove yourself, this is self-discipline we're talking, because you've got to discipline yourself that, I'm going to keep my word and I'm going to do exactly what I said to these people over the phone. By the time you resist them 3, 4, 5 times in a public gathering where they know that you are bound to do it, then they start believing in you that, this guy, he really said this thing and he started doing it. And, I've got friends who can testify. When I stopped drinking, it was the same thing. As I said, we used to drink like, properly. We drinked rich. We did all sorts of drinks in the club, all sorts of money being spent. But when it got to the stage where I said, enough is enough, one day I just woke up and said, I'm not drinking no more. and that was it. You know, I'll go out, you know, I make myself accountable to people. I'm not drinking. They offer, I'm not drinking. People be like, oh, T, why don't you just have a little sip? Why don't you just, you know, if I could do it, so many other people can do it. And that discipline, it could be put into any area of our life that we want to. We've just got to be able to make that decision for ourselves. You know, there's certain things that keep that decision intact, and I keep on saying accountability. You knowing yourself, you having a goal, a further goal of something bigger than this. I used to say to myself, I can't smoke till I grow dreadlocks because I'm not Jamaican, and I can't drink till I become a tramp. You know, so why do I continue to do it? And people would ask you questions like, oh, why have you stopped smoking? What? And you know, the funniest thing is when you tell people, you know, why you've set a goal, when you tell people why you're restraining yourself or why you've disciplined yourself for a specific goal, but they never believe you until they begin to see the outward physical appearance of that thing happen to you. So when I said to myself, oh, I'm not doing it no more, people never believe me. Oh, you know, we don't believe you. Take one sip. You know, after a while, they don't just offer you no more. They begin to respect your opinion. You begin to feel good about yourself because you've achieved your goal. So you've achieved. So for me, Chief stopped smoking. Chief stops drinking. Chief stopped eating, you know, red meat. And then you could just. These are just physical things. And then, you know, you could talk about material things. You could set goals for yourself, for your career, for your, you know, material, for your financial situations, you know, for your spiritual situations. You could set any form of goal for yourself and be in the position, you know, as they clearly say, you know, that what you allow to dominate your mind so much eventually would become, you know, resonate with the rest of your body and begin to protrude an outward appearance. You begin to walk and talk in that manner. And because you walk and talk in that manner, you begin to attract, you know, look, when I say to you attract, and that's like the law of attractions, you know, the laws of these universe, they're set, you know, they don't get suspended for anything. You know, I always say this, when you're smoking weed or trees or cigarette, you know, you start off by yourself. By the time you're big in it, you would have a whole massive bunch of friends who are weed smokers. A whole massive, if you're not a drinker, you would have a whole massive friends who are not drinkers. If you're a vegetarian, you would have a whole bunch of friends who are vegetarians. How? But the funniest thing is you started one off by yourself. But because this earth works off so much vibrations, and we physically, you know, we vibrate our thoughts out. You know, our thoughts go into that sort of subconscious realm of energy, you know, of infinite intelligence, and attracts those things that are dominating in our own heart and our own mind, that those things that we think about so often, you know, it attracts the likeness to us. If we begin to dominate our mind with thoughts of anything we want to achieve in life, and we begin to eat with it, sleep with it, wake up, pray about it, have faith and believe in it, surely it would come to pass. It may tarry, but it will surely come to pass. But the whole onus is to discipline yourself enough, you know, that even when those thoughts come in and temptations, physical and mental, come to sidetrack those thoughts, you in discipline, align your thoughts, align yourself. Because once you align your thoughts would align your physical being again back into the right position. That's all what self-discipline is. And you know, for this last quarter of this year, it's so important that we revisit, we stock check all those things that we, you know, wrote off as resolutions, as promises to ourselves, to our kids, you know, to our God, that we're going to do in 2017. we go back, we have a look at it. Those that we haven't done, or those that we've sidetracked, it's never too late to pick it up again. We could pick it up, and make a change instantly just by dominating those thoughts in our mind for the last quarter of this year. And I could assure you, it would begin to find the likeness of those things, be it money, be it cars, be it houses, be it jewelry, be it, the wife you want for yourself. We have to keep that dominating thought. We've not got to settle for substitute. You say you sidetracked with me. You say you want this wife for yourself. You say you want this husband for yourself. Bah, 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 bah. But then you see bah, 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 and you think, let me quickly poke. No, it's not Pokemon. You can't do it, because that's a sidetrack. It's sidetracking you off what you want. What you want, if it's this, then you have to stick with this. Whatever comes that's not this, you just know that it's a stepping stone to get to where you're going. You can't just say, let me just taste and let me just, no, you can't. You can't just say, let me just sleep with this guy quickly, when you're praying for this kind man. So many people have done that and have lost their main men. So many people have made hoes housewives, and so many people have turned what should have been a housewife into a hoe just by doing it. I'm speaking from a man's perspective, sorry. So yeah, it's quite important that we discipline ourselves in all to attain any form of success in life. There's a level of self-discipline that has to be exerted by us. That level of self-discipline, it brings sacrifice, and it's impossible to gain any form of success without being prepared to sacrifice something. If it's an exam we want, we got to sacrifice the night, or we sacrifice the day, the time in the library, burying our heads in the book. If we're a professional athlete, we've got to sacrifice training, not drinking, not smoking. When our friends are partying, we've got to sacrifice there. If it's for someone like Ronaldo, you see world best again, won the best player, I think it's in the world, Europe. The guy sacrifices training. 247, he's on it, on the grill, on the grind. That's the only form and only way that success comes. That's what self-discipline is. Self-discipline has so much very elements that sort of attach itself to it, and we've got to be able to see those elements. I think next week I'm going to talk about most of the elements, as many elements as I could sort of remember on, the things that allow us to discipline ourselves, or the benefits of self-discipline, or the things that I should say we need to be aware of in order to discipline ourselves appropriately, so that we could be able to achieve that which we desire in life. It's the last quarter, folks. We need to go out of this quarter steaming. So if there's anything left undone, I think now is the time to do it. We must not let 2017 go just like all the rest of the years have gone. There has to be an impact. There has to be some form of success that we're taking out. There has to be some form of element that we're taking out of 2017 that would make us remember this year as a year in which we broke through. One fundamental right of every human being is to be successful, but the onuses of how and when you get successful is left on you, and it's left on me. I hope this short post blesses someone. Have a fantastic bank holiday weekend, whatever you do. Until I speak to you again next time, good night and God bless.